45. There goes Davis. Oh my God! Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game. He ran the missed field goal back. He ran it back 109 yards. They're not going to keep him off the field tonight. Holy cow! Oh my God! Auburn wins. Auburn has won the Iron Bowl. Auburn has won the Iron Bowl in the most unbelievable fashion you will ever see.
Oh, does it feel good to be back? Welcome in, everyone, to episode 360 of The Dream Wager. Today is Wednesday, January 24th, 2024. As always, I'm your host, D-Rock, and joining me, as always, is our NBA guru, my partner, Elvis. Goes to E. How you doing? How was the bank? Good game, right?
Still great first half. Second half started to get a little cold, I'm going to be honest. But other than that, great experience. Glad I went to it. First time at the bank. Definitely will visit, next year or, the year after, but definitely a great experience still. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I will be there. AFC Championship this weekend. I'm trying to see Taylor Swift. Let's see.
She gonna be there. She'll
be there. But yeah, it was a great experience. It was a little cold. Jimmy Eat World, very disappointing, I will say. We'll get into all that. It was a very good time over the weekend in Baltimore. Yeah, like you said, first half was really entertaining. Second half, they kind of pulled away and made the second half adjustments. We'll talk about Saturday games, Sunday games as well. Chiefs take care of business as well. We'll look at some coaching hires. Some coaching hires happened throughout the week, and we'll end the show with some NBA plays and props. But Elvis, let's start in that Raven game. They take care of business at home, 34-10. They wind up covering the 9.5 or 10, whatever you ended up getting. The game goes over by a field goal, that late field goal. That was just awful for the under bettors, but they take care of business. Like you said, first half, 10-10. Outside of that, punt return to the crib Houston made, they really couldn't get anything going offensively. What do you think of the defense for Baltimore?
Still, the defensive side of the ball for Baltimore was very impressive, still, especially the running attack. They still shut down the whole running game. Besides Devin Singletary having that big run, still, he didn't do anything. You know how many times he just got to the yard line, a -1, -2, to the yard line, a 1.5 game. He never really got it going, and that kind of took CJ's game out of it as well, Dill, because he never really got in rhythm, never really able to get play action going, Dill. So give credit to that Ravens defense for just flat out shutting down the run and making the Texas offense kind of one-dimensional on the road with a rookie quarterback. So you just got to give credit for how well they looked. They didn't look – the defensive side of the ball was not rusty at all. No. Coming off the bye week. Just the offense a little bit in the first half, Dill. And like we said, I don't know if it was the OC, if it was Lamar himself, but the second half adjustments on the offensive side of the ball were made, and they just took off, Dill. Like you said, it was 10-10 at half. Baltimore just basically went on a 24-0 run to end the game. Lamar, Hercules effort, 2 on the passing, 2 on the ground, had over 20. I understand, people, he didn't have a 300-yard passing game. I understand, but people, he's not Peyton Manning. He's not Tom Brady. Well, we're seeing him do the way he does it. It's just all-time great. You got to appreciate his style of play. He willed his team to victory single-handedly with his arm and his legs. I understand he didn't do a ton of yards, a ton of this, ton of that, but he made winning plays when needed. So Lamar played great deal. And, to Houston, caps off to them because they had a successful season at the end. And nobody had them going to playoffs. Nobody had them winning the division. Nobody had them winning a playoff game against the Browns. Still, they were what? 7-point dogs at home, 4-point dogs. I forgot the exact number, but give credit to them. Even the defensive side of the ball, that they played, I say, great in the first half of the game. Besides that one touchdown, they shut down Baltimore. So give credit to Texas, but the Baltimore defense just showed they're one of the best defense in football.
You took the words right out of my mouth. They proved in the whole game, not even just the first half, they proved they're the best defense in the league. And, they really don't even have that big star on that side of the ball. They were without one of their best corners, Marlon Humphrey. It didn't matter. They're just and they still have that brand of physical football that we've grown up to know that is the Baltimore Ravens. And up front they don't have a Bosa, or they don't have a Myles Garrett, but they always get pressure. Roquan Smith is probably the best player on that thing, but he travels around that linebacker position, and I thought they really proved themselves. And like you said, Lamar, he's not really going to overwhelm you, but this was one of the greatest games I thought he played. First half, still methodical. And, shout out Houston, because, they did blitz him, and history kind of showed that if you blitz Lamar, it can cause him some troubles, but he just broke him with the legs. He said, okay, you want to blitz me? See ya. And they couldn't catch him. 11 carries for 100 yards. He had 2 touchdowns on the ground, 2 touchdowns through the air. I mean, he was the best player on the field by far. They just ran it down their throat in the second half. I mean, once they scored that touchdown in the third quarter, they scored 17 unanswered points. Like you said, 24 unanswered points. And they rushed for over 229 yards. And, man, it can't understate how well of adjustments this team makes in the during halftime. So they're gonna be Lamar has his biggest game of his life coming this week against Patrick Mahomes. So it's like Ric Flair says, if you want to be the champion, you got to beat the champion. And right now, Patrick Mahomes is the champion. So big game coming up. And yeah, like you said, amazing season for the Houston Texans. They're over under for the win total when we previewed it back in July with Moonoff was around 4.5 or 5.5. And we all thought they would be a little better than last year and make that next stride. But no one anticipated this, winning the division, then going and playing at home and winning a playoff game at home while you were the underdog. And they didn't just win, they blew them out. So credit to them. They're going to be a fun and exciting team to watch in the next couple of years. So you got to give your flowers to Houston and CJ Stroud, D'Amico Ryan, Will Anderson, Nico Collins. He stepped up. He had a big tail end to the season, especially with Tank Dell and all the boys going out for injury. But yeah, I thought it was a very impressive win, and they did take care of business. Anything else you wanted to mention on this game?
Dill, I like the fact that John Harbaugh brings that energy in the post game. You saw him dancing in the locker room. Yeah, so it's just exciting, and I want to see the Baltimore, to be honest. I want to see Baltimore take that next step, because I want to see Lamar Jackson get the praise that he deserves. All this talk on the media, this and that. You know what? If he goes out there and wins the Super Bowl, all the noise is out the window.
Yeah, exactly. Saturday night, I don't know, how much of this game did you catch? I was able to catch
the whole thing, baby. The whole thing.
Okay. 49ers take care of business by the skin of their teeth. They're at home. 24-21. Green Bay winds up covering the 10.5. Game goes way under the total. I thought we had a shot at the over. I thought both teams were able to score, but credit. Though for the most part, Green Bay's defense played okay. Jordan Love, he didn't have the best game, but he still had an okay game. I thought 21 for 34. I'm not going to kill him off that last interception. He tried to force it. He tried to make a play happen late in the game without any timeouts. I'm not really going to crucify him for that, but I thought Aaron Jones had a really good game, 18 carries for over 100 yards again. Romeo Doubs again had a good game. But outside of that, I think the biggest story for this game was Deebo Samuel going out, re-injured his shoulder that he kind of missed some time during the season. MRIs were negative. He hasn't practiced up until today is Wednesday. He hasn't practiced yet. His status for Sunday night is uncertain. So we'll see. I think that's going to be a big loss. But I think once he went out, the game plan, I think Kyle Shanahan had to change the game plan on a fly. And I don't think they were kind of ready for that. But what'd you think of San Francisco getting the win?
Yeah, Dale, San Francisco, like you said, Dale, the game plan definitely went out the window when Deebo Samuel left the game, Dale. It was definitely a whole different offense. And it took him a while to get it going, as you can see, Dale. Give credit to the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love had the 49ers fans, half of California on their heels. I'll tell you that, Dale. Like you said, he played a pretty good game for all the aspects around it. To me, he played pretty damn great, to be honest, though. Besides the last interception where he forced, at the end of the kid is just young. He's trying to force the ball to put him in position to tie the game up. I'm not going to beat him over the head for it, but at the end of the day, they'll go into San Francisco in that environment. I think he played pretty well, besides the 2 interceptions. Aaron Jones, that was what, 5 straight games to end the season over
Yeah.
100 yards. He was just running the ball. Then, to be honest, that's going to be concerning next week because we see the dual aspect. If Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, if Aaron Jones had this successful running the ball against them, we know what Gibbs and Montgomery can do, and we both know Detroit is one of the best offensive lines in football. So that's just an interesting thing to keep an eye out for there. But like you said, Brock Purdy, as soon as he kind of settled down, I'm gonna say kind of in the second half, he kind of got the ball rolling. Christian McCaffrey had himself a huge game, 2 tutties with the game winner. George Kittle with a touchdown. Jennings had a tremendous game. He was making catches. Yeah. He's the one that mainly stepped up after Debo went out. And then Brandon Ayuk was basically quiet till he made a couple first downs in the fourth quarter on the game-winning drive. So I think we just got to give, the 49ers credit for winning an ugly game. They never really played well in the rain. We saw it basically in the first half. Brock Purdy, couple mishaps, couple ducks thrown. Should have been a pick 6 when Savage dropped it right to his hand. So kind of some miscues from Brock Purdy, but didn't really turn around and bite him in the butt. So give credit for a sloppy win. I'm going to say sloppy. Wasn't an impressive win at all. Green Bay covered by a mile. So give credit to San Francisco winning the game, but it wasn't a pretty win.
And I don't want to say it was all the kicker's fault either. He did miss that late kick. There was other opportunities to win the game. I agree. Yeah. I thought Brock Purdy kind of settled in after the half. I thought he played a really good second half. The first half, you could tell there was some, I don't know if it was jitters. I don't know if, the defense was giving him some. Yeah, it was the rain as well. But yeah, like you said, Christian McCaffrey, he had a hell of a game, really keeping him in it. George Kittle had that nice touchdown as well. Jennings, I mean, he really stepped up too because Brandon Ayuk, they kind of doubled him the rest of the game after Debo went out. So Jawan Jennings really stepped up big for them. And I'm just tired of it, man. I'm just tired of everyone saying, Brock Purdy isn't this, Brock Purdy isn't that. This is a good quarterback. Like, he might not be elite, but he's definitely a top 10 quarterback.
He's not he's not a top 10 most talented quarterback in the league. Absolutely not. He probably runs a 4.9 in the 40. He probably could throw the ball. He probably can't even throw the ball top 10 furthest in the league, though. But the kid is a gamer. The kid understands the system. The kid knows how to read the play, how to read the defense well enough, though. And he's a winner. At the end of the day, you can't take nothing away from him. I think the kid only lost 5 games as a starter.
Yeah.
As a game from he start and finish, he lost 5 games. 3, he lost 2 games last year, and then 3 this year. Well, 4 this year, whatever it was.
And one was the AFC or the NFC Championship when he went out in the first quarter.
Yeah. So still, I understand.
What's with all the hate? Why are people hating? Is it because of the system that he's in and he's surrounded with all this talent? He still has to go out and make the throws.
Absolutely, I agree with you, but I'm going to tell you why they hate. I understand it, but people got to let it go. It's because look at the talent. You got an all-pro, arguably the best running back in football, Christian McCaffrey. You got, no doubt about it, the best left tackle in all of football, Trent Williams. You have one of the best dual threats in all of football in Debo Samuel. One of the best tight ends in all of football in George Kittle. You're surrounded by all pros, Dill. At the end of the day, he's not the most talented guy. He doesn't have the biggest arm. Like we said earlier, throughout the season, Dill, he's never going to have, 350, 4 touchdown games like we see, the great ones do, like Mahomes, Josh Allen, Kirk Cousins, and stuff like that. Dak Prescott throughout the season had games like that, but he's going to win the game. That's all that matters is the W and L column, and the kid's just been winning games. So fuck all the stats. I understand, and not for that deal. One thing I could honestly say is he should have never been not never, but he was too hyped in the MVP conversation. He was always top 2, top 3 to me. He should have never been that high just in the conversation. So that's where he also got a lot of hate as well, because like I said, he's just loaded with talent around him. He makes the plays. To me, he's a great quarterback. But
and he's smart. He makes the right play most of the time.
Exactly, Dill. It's just people look, if I had Debo, I had Christian McCaffrey, I had Trent, I have George Kittle, I'll be doing the same thing. That's how they look at it.
Yeah, I know. It's just a shame, you got people like Ryan Clark saying, I hate to had to hide it to say he was in the category of Josh Allen and Lamar, but he was. He was. I mean,
He had the number one seed.
Yeah, he had the number one seed. They averaged 30 points a game. I mean, he's doing that. Who's throwing him the ball? He is.
I understand you got Kyle Shanahan, arguably one of the best offensive line in football, one of the best schemes out there. But at the end of the day, Jimmy G wasn't this good in that system. Yeah, Jimmy G, 100%. Don't get me wrong, Jimmy G did get him to a Super Bowl. By all means, couple NFC championship games, I understand. But never a doubt was Jimmy G ever in the MVP conversation. This kid was.
What are they going to say, E, if he goes out and wins the Super Bowl? Are they going to say the same thing? Oh, if I had all that talent.
The only way they can honestly keep saying that if, like, Debo and Christian McCaffrey have 4 touchdowns combined. If Debo breaks 3 tackles, goes 60 yards off a screen or a slant, and then Christian McCaffrey busts a 70-yard touchdown or something like that, then they will continue to say that. But if he goes out there, throws a 280, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and Christian McCaffrey has a so-so game, how could they honestly keep saying it?
I just don't get all the hate. It's kind of weird behavior from grown-ass men, if I'm being honest. I think that's weird behavior.
Still, at the end of the day, it pays to hate.
Yeah.
It pays to hate. Trust me, if a company hits us up like, yo, I'll pay y'all. Y'all just talk shit. Best believe I'm going to do what I got to do, But, it's a shame, but the kid is talented, and he's one game away for once again going to the Super Bowl. Just a second-year starting, people.
Yeah, and on the other side, what a year for Green Bay. This was supposed to be a rebuilding year. They go out, they win a playoff game on the road, and not just win, they dominate the Cowboys. They come within a few plays of knocking off the number 1 seed. It looks like they found their guy once again in Green Bay. Jordan Love's elite.
I know it pains a lot of people to come to the realization, but the Green Bay Packers went 3 for 3 for 3 decades. Yeah. They just went 3 for 3 for 3, but going to be 4 decades because the kid is going to play another 10 years. So from the 1990s to 2030, the Green Bay Packers went 3 for 3. Jordan Love is going to be that dude. One thing I can honestly, Jordan Love, within 5 years, will be in the NFC Championship. Will possibly be in a Super Bowl. Will possibly be an MVP in this league because that kid is special. That kid is a true baller. And Matt LaFleur is a top 5 coach. No ifs, ands, or buts. He's a top 5. He damn near outcoached Kyle Shanahan with half the talent.
Are you worried about Debo and his status for this weekend against the Lions? I guess my worry, and he's literally, like you said, a dual threat. He plays slot, and he also plays running back as well, and maybe this is why he does get hurt. He's never played a full season in 5 years. I understand the hesitation on paying him. If you could get a full season out of Debo Samuel, then I think he is worth it. I just worry about how they use him. I know he's a Swiss Army knife. They could use him in the backfield. They use him in the slot. But eventually those type of players get hurt, and I think that's what we're seeing with Debo.
Dale, to be honest, no. Just because, I think Brock Purdy and this team is capable of winning this game without him. So would Debo Samuel be great? Absolutely, Dale. Basically completes the team. We know they're at their best with Debo's in the lineup. But we saw them win a game against Green Bay without him. And to be honest, I think they could possibly take care of business against Detroit without him. Would the offense be a little sluggish at first? Would the offense not put up 30, 35 points like they usually do? Possibly, Dale. But at the end of the day, as long as the defensive side of the ball is healthy, they could be all right.
Yeah, we will definitely see. They have a tough task ahead of them this week, and they will be playing the Lions. Like, Lions take care of business at home. I feel so happy for the Lions, man. They take care of business at home, 31-23. They wind up covering the 6.5, barely. Almost got a late cover by the Bucs scoring. Game goes way over the total, 49.5. I mean, I remember about 3 years ago, the famous biting kneecap speech, and everyone calling him crazy. But this guy, Dan Campbell, is a leader of men, not just a great football coach. He's a leader of men. He's emotional. He's vulnerable. And the whole organization believes in this guy. I remember when they hired him the first year, they were I think they lost like 9 games in a row. They win their first game against Minnesota on a late touchdown to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Everyone's going crazy. The next year, they go out and they spoil the dreams of the Packers, and they win 9 or 10 games, and everyone's just like, you guys got to stop disrespecting us. We're the Detroit Lions. Jameson Williams has 17 touchdowns, broken the record for season single touchdowns, and now 1 year removed, they win the division. First time since 1991. They're in the NFC Championship game. I mean, it speaks volumes of when you have the guy in the room and he changes the culture. It is something special. So hats off to Dan Campbell and this team. I'm happy for them. I'm happy for Jared Goff. This whole city, you had people crying in the stands. They waited their whole life for this. I feel you. I mean, coming as a Jet fan, I feel you. But man, I just couldn't fuck the game for a sec. I just wanted to say how happy I am for Dan Campbell, the Detroit Lions, and everybody in the organization, man.
Yeah, Del, shout out to Detroit. Winning 2 home playoff games is just a sight to see. You know how loud that stadium was, Del?
Oh, yeah. Loud.
That place was a zoo. I'm telling you right now, that place was a zoo. I honestly wish I was able to go there, Del. But, give credit to the Lions. Take care of business at home. Jared Goff, like I said, if Jared Goff doesn't turn the ball over, he's going to win a lot of games. Another game, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Amon St. Brown stepped up basically in the second half, took over. Sam Laporta had a huge first half. Gibbs did it in the running game and passing game as well, Dill. That kid is just coming on as of late. That huge busted run as well. And then, Dill, what impressed me shockingly was how good the defense played at stretches. It was stretches with, Baker Mayfield and that team couldn't really get nothing going.
Yeah.
Especially in the third quarter, Mike Evans had himself a huge game. But other than that, everybody else was kind of in check. Otto, the tight end, had a couple catches still. But, I understand Baker Mayfield threw for a ton of yards. Kind of, that touchdown before that Mike Evans touchdown in the second half, they kind of let them, march down the field, no huge plays, nothing over the head. So Baker Mayfield was able to drive, Dill. But at the end of the day, they wasn't able to get nothing in the running game, really. Like I said, besides Mike Evans having a huge game, and then the tight end Otto, Chris Godwin only had 4 catches, 40 yards. He had to do a little more, So I was just surprised how good Detroit's defense was at times in this game. Even though Baker Mayfield threw for a ton of yards, you see the 3 touchdowns, Dill, but you see what? The 2 interceptions. One wasn't really his fault to Mike Evans in the first quarter that, C.J. Gardner-Johnson got. But other than that, I was surprised how good the defense was at times in this game. Give Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield credit. Definitely earned himself a good check. I like what Mike Evans said after the game, that Baker Mayfield is extremely underrated because, Dill, he balled. He balled this year. And that's another thing, Dill. Baker Mayfield, he's on undercon. He's going to be a free agent. Mike Evans is going to be a free agent. So if I'm Tampa Bay, I need to bring both of them back to continue because they have some type of connection. We saw how great Mike Evans was, especially in the playoffs and down the stretch still. So hats off to Todd Bowles and Tampa Bay for, great season.
That defense, the Lions, they were blitzing early, and I'm interested to see how San Francisco schemes up to try to block that, because they're going to bring, like we saw Brian Branch come off from the corner position and get a sack. You got Aiden Hutchinson, who's really come on as of late. He's going to get pressure. I thought the defense at times played good. They were some busted coverages a little later in the game, but at least thankfully they had a big enough lead. I think that is my one concern with Detroit, is their secondary and their defense. But overall, I thought, Amon-Ra St. Brown had a fantastic game. He had that touchdown late. Sam Laporta had 9 catches. Really, Jahmyr Gibbs ran the ball decently, had that touchdown as well. Jared Goff, another big game. And this is a homecoming game for Jared Goff, going back where he's from. He's from L.A., went to high school in L.A., he's gonna have some people there, so I don't think this is the whole not conspiracy, but this is the whole cap on Jared Goff, is that he can't play outdoors, but I think he's gonna have some success in in San Francisco next week. It should be definitely a good game. What are your expectations of Jared Goff going home to California?
Still, one thing I could say is in his career against San Francisco and Kyle Shanahan, he's 1-5. You know, he played in the Rams. San Francisco played two times a year, and he's 1-5 in those games. Still, all I'm gonna say is I expect him to be better than those 1-5
Different time
starts.
though.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. But yeah, like you said, we got some free agents for next year. Like I said, Baker Mayfield, you got Mike Evans, Ricard White as well. Really good running back. I thought he had a very underrated season this year as well. They couldn't get anything going running the ball, and I thought that was the problem because they kind of were one-dimensional. Baker Mayfield, yeah. I thought he had a really good season, if I'm being honest. I didn't expect him to get this far, to play as well as he did at times. One of the interceptions was bad. The first one, CJ Gardner-Johnson just made a hell of a play, I thought. But the other one was kind of bad. But, I thought Baker, for the most part, threw for almost 400 yards. Let's be honest. Like, he was slinging the ball out there, and it was mostly Mike Evans. But for the Lions, and they advanced. They will be on the road to play the 49ers this weekend. And then Sunday night was the game of the week. The Kansas City Chiefs take care of business against the Buffalo Bills, 27-24. They win outright as 3-point underdogs. The game goes over the total as well. Cold game in Orchard Park. I thought Josh Allen played really well, kid. What'd you think?
Yeah, Dale. I know the media is coming after Josh Allen and whatnot, Dale. But to be honest, Dale, I think the kid played pretty well. At the end of the day, basically 250 total yards. Only had 186 on the passing, but yeah, he led the team in rushing with 2 touchdowns. James Cook had a decent day as well, Dale. But I feel like Josh Allen played well enough to win this game. They had control of the game for mostly. Travis Kelce went off, but at the end, Stephon Diggs with a couple drops. What was that receiver name that dropped? I think it was Shakur that dropped the ball on the left side there that was catchable. That looked like he caught it, but you saw the replay; it hit the ground. So Bills was just 2 balls away. Honestly, 3. The Shakur one on the left side, the Stephon Diggs on the right side, where the ball just went right through his
That was
arms.
a dime.
Great throw by Josh Allen, Dill. But the
Stephon Diggs has to catch that, though. I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely, Dill. He gets paid like a top dog. You got to make those top dog catches, Dill. But the one for I can honestly say about Josh Allen was the throw before the kick to tie the game, Dill. He had the wide receiver. He was open enough, Dill. He just couldn't get the ball to him, Dill. The ball hit the ground in the middle of the end zone. The guy was open. You hit him in the chest, though. You most likely win that game. With Kansas City Chiefs, anytime more than 13 seconds is enough for Patty Mahomes. But that possibly sets it off, Dill. He missed that throw. The one to Shakur, he hit that one. It was a little more to the right than the sideline, but you got to come down with that ball. And the one to Stephon Diggs, like you said, Dill, that one was a perfect throw. Stephon Diggs has to execute that. If he catches that ball, he may still be running to this day. So I think Josh Allen played a well enough to win this game. And then let's just give credit to Kansas City, Dill. Patrick Mahomes, what more could we say, Dill? That's all we never doubted him, Dill. 6 incompletions. I understand this ain't the Patty Mahomes from that 2018, 2019, 2020 run still. But 17 for 23, 215, 2 tutties, no interceptions. Still, what's the number one key thing in that? 0 interceptions, 0 sacks. Buffalo wasn't able to get any pressure on Patrick Mahomes. He was just drop back sitting back out there. Isaiah Pacheco had himself a tremendous game, Dill. Another great game by Isaiah Pacheco. Jersey's own. Dill, I saw something. It was like a meme that Pacheco runs like he bite people. That man runs angry, man. Give him credit. And then, Travis Kelce. We have a Travis Kelce outing, Dill. Travis Kelce, 5 catches, 75 yards, 2 tutties. The second one, he worked really hard for, so give him credit on that. Valdez-Scantling made that tremendous catch. That was a great throw by Patrick Mahomes, by the way, on the sideline when he kind of ran it for a few extra yards. Still, Rice, I took his over. He went under by about 20 yards. Still had a pretty good game, though, but didn't do as much as I expected him to do. But give credit to Kansas City and Steve Spagnuolo for, tamping down on the defensive side of the ball when they needed to. They really didn't get too much pressure on Josh Allen as well. 0 sacks as well, too, though. but at the end of the day, they made the stops when they needed to. And Dill, I think we only saw one punt in this game. That's
Yeah.
playoff football, people. That's what I like to see. So
I saw
great
I
game.
saw
Yeah, you go.
yeah, no,
Great game by
no.
Kansas City and Bills.
All I was gonna say was I saw a tweet during the game. They said first team that punts loses the game, and I was like, "Yo, this is accurate." But yeah, I thought. Oh, let me say from the Kansas City Chiefs side, +3 was like the easiest bet. I thought just give the best quarterback in the world 3 points on the road. He's never missed the AFC Championship game. You could basically just pencil it in, and
it's a Patrick Mahomes Invitational.
I mean, at the end of the day, there's an argument to be made that he's had a better resume already than Aaron Rodgers and some of the all-time greats. And that's scary to say. I mean, he's gonna have more playoff wins than Tom Brady. He's gonna have more than Aaron Rodgers already. So, I mean, I just don't know like what else there is to prove anymore for Patrick Mahomes. And it's crazy because they during the end of the season, they kind of were going on that little rut where, they weren't playing the best football. They were sneaking out some wins. But as soon as the playoffs started, this team just found their mojo, and it just seems to all click. Last week, I thought they played a complete game. Again, I thought they played a complete game on defense on the road. Patrick Mahomes took care of the ball. Isaiah Pacheco is the best running back he's ever had. I think that's a fact already. And I'm interested to see what Spagnuolo dices up against Lamar because, if he does come after him, you got to look at the tape last week. Houston came at him 17 times. And look how that happened. So I will say it's going to be a very exciting game against the Baltimore Ravens. And on the Buffalo side, I mean, who do you blame for the loss? I mean, I don't think
the kicker's fault.
No, it wasn't the kicker's fault either. Great teammate Josh Allen. He picked his head up too. He told him, "Hey, man, it's not your fault. There was a lot of opportunities." I thought they ran the ball really well. Even besides Josh Allen, James Cook ran the ball well. Ty Johnson had a few nice carries as well. But, man, honestly, I think it comes down to Stephon Diggs. 21 yards. I mean, this guy's been he hasn't had a touchdown since week 13. I mean, it's been non-existent. Like, he definitely have lost his chemistry. Shakur's been a better receiver since week 13 than Stephon Diggs.
More yards and more catches.
Everything. It's just unacceptable. That cannot happen when you're getting paid like a top 5 receiver. And when he is playing, he is a top 5 receiver, in my opinion, but he's not playing like it at all. And I thought this was the year that they needed to win because it's going to be much harder. Josh Allen cap hit by season 2019. They only paid him $4.8 million. They lost in the wild card game. In 2020, they paid him $5.9 million. They lost in the conference championship. 2021, they paid him $10.2 million. They lost in the divisional. 2022, they paid him $16.4 million. They lost in the divisional. And then this year, he got paid $18.6 million, and they lost in the division. In 2024, do you know how much they will be paying him?
Lamar got $80 million this year, so I'm gonna say $70 million.
$47.1 million. I mean,
that's not bad. That's not bad.
No, but it jumps from this year getting paid $18 million to $47 million. That's a huge jump. It's gonna get much harder.
Yeah, for the team, yes, still, but compared to these quarterbacks with the money they're making now,
forget that. I'm not even talking about that him individually. I'm just talking about as a team to win because I thought this was the year to win. They had everything. I thought their offense was amazing. It wasn't offense.
They had too many injuries on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Von Miller starting in late. Manalo, one of the best linebackers in football, top 10 for sure, out for the season. Tre'Davious White, one of the best corners in football, out for the season. Michael Hyde, he's been banged up all season long. So it was just a lot of injuries, especially in the linebacker position, inside position, outside position. It was just a lot. You had second and third stringers out there, though. And that's why they wasn't able to get pressure on Mahomes. That's why they wasn't able to get a sack. And that's why I think next week the Kansas City will have their hands full because one thing, Baltimore is going to be able to get pressure. Buffalo wasn't able to because they were just riddled with injuries. But the Baltimore Ravens are going to be able to get after Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying he's going to be running like the Brady Tampa Bay Super Bowl, but he's going to have to make some plays outside of the pocket for them to win the game.
And speaking of the Bills, going back on them real quick, not just paying Josh Allen $47 million this year, Gabe Davis, free agent, Micah Hyde, free agent, Leonard Floyd, free agent. You got some guys, Ty Johnson, running back, Latavius Murray, a lot of guys that
Stephon Diggs definitely going to want to request a trade or something like that.
You think so?
I know so.
I just think I feel bad for this Buffalo team, and I think Josh Allen is legit. I think he is the real deal, and it just sucks. It's like back in the day when all the AFC teams had to run into Brady. Everyone's running into Patrick Mahomes. It's
like it's not. I'm not gonna say it's sad because he's still young, Dill, but all I'm gonna say is a couple years down the road, there's a small chance he might just be the Phillip Rivers of this time.
Yeah.
He just kept running into great quarterbacks. You got Lamar, you got Patrick Mahomes, you might have CJ, you might have Trevor Lawrence,
Joe Burrow.
So he might just be that guy that maybe he could break through and win it like Big Ben did. But at the end of the day, you're gonna have to go through a gauntlet of quarterbacks in the AFC to get to where you want to go. Even next year, Aaron Rodgers will be back. So it's just a gauntlet to go through the AFC deal, and it's gonna be a tough task for him. He might just be the Phillip Rivers of this generation. All-time great quarterback. The numbers are going to speak for themselves, but he just won't be able to. Remember, Phillip Rivers just reached one AFC championship game, and I think he lost by 30 to the Patriots.
Yeah, the Sunday game, I want to say a little note I wrote down. The Sunday game between the Chiefs and Bills averaged 50.4 million viewers, the most watched divisional or wild card game in the history of the NFL. 50.4 million. That's insane, E. I felt like everyone was watching this game.
Yeah, it was definitely a must-watch. That game probably gets more views than maybe not both for one AFC championship game for sure. One championship game.
Overall, besides having a really good time in Baltimore and them winning, didn't do good. Had an amazing wild card weekend, divisional round 2-5. Isaiah Likely went under by a yard. Baltimore covers the 9.5. San Francisco doesn't cover the 9.5. I did Brock Purdy under 21.5 pass completions. He finished with 23. Aaron Jones under 16.5 rush attempts. He finished with 18. I tried to keep going, hammering Amon-Ra St. Brown over 91. He finished with 77. And then Isaiah Pacheco over 14.5 rush attempts. They continue to hang that 14. We're going to continue to smash it. So down 3 units, 2-5. Not the best weekend for divisional round, but E, how did you do?
Still basically the same thing, 2-4. Packers cover. I did a two-way teaser with the Chiefs and the Packers, got them both up. But like I said, Rashee Rice went under by like 20 yards. Texans couldn't cover, and Patrick Mahomes went under his rushing.
Yeah, I mean, let's look to have a bounce.
And Zay Flowers went under, so 2-4.
2-4. I mean, both of us had a bad week, but good times, good vibes at the bank. I will be there.
Most of my money went towards the tickets, not too much to the gambling side. So weekend.
I will say, how last week the Ravens, they had a halftime performance. You know who the halftime performance is this week?
Who's from Baltimore that I could think from? I can't. It's gonna take too long. I'm trying to think.
T-Pain, baby. Oh, legend.
That's a legend. See, I can see why the ticket prices are that high now.
Game ball delivery. Guess who it is? Towson legend. He's the most decorated Olympian. That's the biggest hint.
Michael Phelps from Towson?
Yep, Michael Phelps. He went to Towson High School, baby.
Wow, Michael Phelps, Maryland legend.
Maryland legend, and he likes to smoke. Who knew? Pre-game, we'll have B-2 stealth bombers fly over from the Naval Academy.
God.
It's going to be sick. The legends of the game. Guess who the legends of the game are?
Ray Lewis, Ed Reed.
That's it. You nailed it.
Oh, that's it?
Two.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was going to say, no, never mind.
And honorary captain is Jonathan Ogden. Legend. And Ravens interview Anquan Bolden and Terrell Suggs. We're gonna have legends in the building. Tell me you remember when they showed Ray Lewis on the big
Oh
on the
yeah,
jump up.
he was
Everyone
hype.
went crazy.
He was hype. He was hype. You know, it was great. Carmelo Anthony was in the building.
Shout out Melo too,
Uh-huh.
man. Yeah, let's look at the lines real quick for next week. I'm so sad. We got to take these in. There's only 3 more NFL games this year. We'll start with the AFC. They're the first game. Kansas City Chiefs on the road in Baltimore. Baltimore opened up a 3-point favorite, got bet up to -3.5 right now. Over under is at 44.5. Any which way you're leaning early?
Early, I gotta take. I'm leaning. I'm not there officially, but I gotta lean the +3.5 for Kansas City Chiefs. At the end, they Patrick Mahomes getting 3 points and a half. So all you gotta do is lose by field goal, Dill. I think that has to be the play, Dill. The +3.5 with the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the Baltimore are advancing, Dill. All Baltimore advanced. I hit +1,800. So
I know we're low key Baltimore fans the rest of the season.
So that would be nice. That would look good. +1,800 and whatnot, Dill. Excuse me. But to be totally honest, you can't bet against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. You just can't. +3.5 is too much. If it was 2.5, I don't know. But 3.5 points, I think Kansas City lose 24-27.
I took the 3 early as soon as it opened. I was waiting.
You laid it?
Yeah, I laid it with Baltimore. I just think they're the most. I think they're the most dominant team. I think defensively they're going to give Patrick Mahomes fits. I think they will get after him. I think the secondary is going to lock up Travis Kelce and Rashid Rice. We'll see if the other guy playmakers could make plays. And I just think if Spagnuolo wants to blitz Lamar, I think they're in a world of hurt. I think he's going to wind up breaking a lot of runs. I laid the 3, and I also took Lamar over 9.5 rush attempts. This one checks all the boxes, I feel like. Big game narrative. AFC championship game is, like I said, it's his biggest game of his career. Lamar's gone over this in 3 of his last 4 postseason games. And we've seen an uptick in rushes this past, I don't know, last 2-3 weeks for the Ravens. And the Chiefs, they've allowed a lot of rush attempts. Allen had 10 rush attempts. Jalen Hurts had 12 rush attempts. Russell Wilson had 8 and 4. Fields had 11. So, and their primary guy, their middle linebacker, Willie Gay, he's banged up. He is going to be the only guy to be able to put a spy on Lamar. He's banged up. If he can't go, I think this defense might get carved up, if I'm being honest. Just the halftime adjustments that this Raven team makes, I think John Harbaugh is going to get to the I almost said World Series, to the Super Bowl. So should be another cool, windy, not going to be as cold, but I just think the Ravens are going to be able to control this ball. I think Jackson gets he had 11 last week. I think he gets anywhere from 10 to 11 again. So Lamar Jackson over 9.5 rush attempts, and I laid the points with the Ravens. I don't know if I laid the 3.5. The hook kind of scares me, but I understand why it's been bet up. Any opinion on the total? Is sitting at 44.5.
Dale, to be honest, both teams could explode. I highly doubt they will, Dill, but like I said, I got 27-24, Dill. That's the over. So I'm going to go with the over, Dill. I think Baltimore definitely scores over 20, and I think Kansas City scores over 20. It's just how high will they go, Dill. I think 27-24 is around the game. It's around the game.
And let's go to the NFC Championship game, 6:30 in Santa Clara, San Francisco. The 49ers are hosting the Detroit Lions. Opened up at 6.5, got bet up to -7 to the 49ers. 49ers laying 7 at home to the Detroit Lions. Over under high, 51. I'll let you go first. Any early leans for this NFC Championship game?
To be honest, you got to lean to +7. I don't know if I'm going to go there officially come Sunday, Dill, but early look, definitely like in the +7. At the end, they, say what you want, but San Francisco struggled, especially offensively. Defensive side of the ball, they let up too many rushing yards, in my opinion. Aaron Jones had a great day on the ground, over 100 yards. I think Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery could have success on the ground. And if they do, guess what? It's going to open up the play auction with Jared Goff, Amon St. Brown, Jameis Williams got a little more involved, Sam Laporta. I think that's going to, especially if Detroit could go in there and dominate time and possession, kind of how Green Bay was doing. I think Lions are not just, I like the +7. I think they're live. At the end of the day, though, their defense can play as good. I'm not saying they need to, if they could just turn Brock Purdy over one time and just limit big plays, I think they could do enough to win this game, Dill. But I think 7 points is too much. Just going off, is Debo going to play and whatnot? If Debo's playing, I might stay away from the +7. If Debo's a no-go, definitely taking the +7.
Yeah, if Debo, you got to imagine. Oh, real quick, I forgot to mention Isaiah Pacheco for the Baltimore game, over 13.5 rush attempts. I mean, they keep hanging 13s. Yeah. They're going to run the ball with Isaiah Pacheco. Anyway, for this game, yeah, I'd imagine if Debo can't go, he hasn't practiced all week. I think he will be a game-time decision depending how his shoulder is. You got to imagine it's going to be bet down, right? He can't go to 7.5.
If he gets ruled out, let's just say Saturday evening, right? Like dinner time, it will definitely drop to 6. I'm going to say a whole point, maybe a 1.5. It all depends on the money fluctuating, but definitely a half a point to a point at the bare minimum.
I mean, if you like the 49ers, I think you wait. I think you wait to see the status of Debo. If he doesn't play, you might get a better number. I got the opening line.
If you're
I took
Detroit,
6.5.
You may want to wait as well, because if Debo's active, 100% ready to go, it might jump to 7.5, 8 points.
Yeah, that's also true. I think it's a wait and see. I as soon as the line dropped, I hammered the 49ers -6.5. I think we see a bounce back game. I think Goff plays better, like you mentioned. I just don't see them hanging around in the game. I think the defense has some flaws in it, and I think they've kind of gotten lucky not playing the best teams in the playoffs, the Lions. Am I rooting for the Lions? It would be a great story if the Lions made the Super Bowl, but I just think the 49ers are a much better team. I laid the 6.5 with the 49ers. I think we see a bounce back game. Defensively as well, because I thought last week the Packers were able to run the hell out of the ball with Aaron Jones. So we'll see if they can control the up front in the trenches and the clock and take the ball away from Brock Purdy. They're live. They're going to be live in this game. So it's going to be a very interesting game. Right now, I don't have any player props. Props are still trickling in throughout the week. So I laid the 6.5. Let me see if there are any 6.5. No, it's 7 across the board on every book right now. So I guess it's a wait and see for the status of Debo. But yeah, I am leaning towards the 49ers right now. And I guess you're leaning towards Detroit, right?
Yeah, especially if Debo is not active. If Debo is a no-go, or let's just say limited, I think the Lions are alive.
Yeah. All right, we'll definitely have our official plays Saturday morning on the next episode. But before we get into our plays, we had some coaching hires over the weekend. Honestly, 20 minutes before we go live, the Dolphins and Vic Fangio have agreed to parted ways. Apparently, according to Adam Schefter, he is the front runner to get the new DC in Philadelphia. Are you surprised they wanted up moving off of Vic Fangio?
Yeah, Dill. Just because what was the number one issue with Miami? It was the defense. Big games. The defense kind of looked good down the stretch till the injuries started piling up. Bradley Chubb goes down, Xavier Howard goes down, and then the defense, to be honest, was just terrible. So Fangio, we know he could coach defense. He's been a head coach in this league, Dill. It's just in Miami. I don't know what it was. In Philadelphia, maybe he could. To be honest, he's going to turn around Philadelphia. He's definitely going to be better than the 28th ranked defense. So at the end of the day, I think if he goes to Philadelphia, it's a good fit. Not the perfect fit, but at the end of the day, Dill, his time in Miami just came to a close. He's a good defensive coordinator. It's just for some reason Miami didn't work out.
Yeah, it didn't work out. So I hope he does land on his feet. He is a good DC, Vic Fangio. It's honestly disappointing to see because I thought he was a good fit with Mike McDaniel in Miami, but they agreed to depart ways. And a good DC like that is going to be off the market very quick as well. So other than that, Titans, they get a whole new organization. They get a new They hired Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan as their new coach. If you don't know Brian Callahan, he's worked in Denver with Peyton Manning. He's worked in Detroit with Matthew Stafford. He's worked in Las Vegas with Derek Carr. He's worked in Cincinnati, like I just said, with Joe Burrow. Some of the head coaches he's worked with: John Fox, Gary Kubiak, Jim Caldwell. Shout out Jim Caldwell, John Gruden, and Zach Taylor. And then today, the Titans also promote Ryan Carthel as executive vice president and general manager, and Chad Brinkert as president of football operations. So they got their head coach, they got their GM, they got president of football operations. This is a brand new Tennessee team.
Yeah, Dill. At the end of the day, I like the move just because, like you said, Dill, he worked with kind of borderline Hall of Fame, Peyton Manning Hall of Fame, Matthew Stafford, borderline Hall of Famer. Joe Burrow is on his way, Dill. And one reason why I love this hiring, Dill, look how good Jake Browning played down the stretch.
Yeah.
You want to build Will Levis up, and you want to have a guy who's been around in experience, great quarterbacks, and knows what it takes for a quarterback to reach that next level, to be a Super Bowl winning caliber quarterback, to reach that next look, like you said, though, Joe Burrow, Matthew Stafford, Peyton Manning. And I think one of his things he don't really get credit for, we just speak about Zach Taylor, is how well Jake Browning looked in some of the games to end the season. So I think you get him there with Will Levis, young quarterback, and you help develop him towards the future. He has the head coaching job. He could handle the offense. That's what he knows well. And to be honest, I think it's going to be a great fit. I understand he's not one of these higher nonchalant names, but at the end of the day, most of the big names on the open market are defensive-minded. Mike Vrabel, Pete Carroll, Jim Harbaugh, Bill Belichick. You want an offensive-minded coach with a young quarterback, and they did exactly that. Great hire.
Yeah, I thought it was a great hire as well. A lot of people really didn't know him, but he's worked under great quarterbacks: Matthew Stafford, Peyton Manning, Joe Burrow. He's had great coaches. John Fox is a legend. He's a Hall of Famer. Jim Caldwell, I got a soft spot for Jim Caldwell. I like Jim Caldwell. John Gruden, say what you want about him. I think he's a good Super Bowl winning coach. Zach Taylor's a good coach. He's really proven himself. And yeah, I think with a young quarterback like Will Levis, you need a guy like Brian Callahan. So I like the move as well. Speaking of president of football operations, Panthers, they're still looking for a head coach, but they have hired Dan Morgan as their president of football operations and general manager. A little about him, if you don't know, he was drafted 11th overall by the Panthers in 2001. He made the Pro Bowl in 2004 with the Panthers. He played 7 seasons with them. He's 10th in tackles in franchise history in Carolina. He worked in the front office in Seattle from 2010 to 2017 when they went on their run. He worked in the Bills front office in 2018 to 2020 with Josh Allen. And he's been assistant GM from the Panthers since 2021. So he's kind of been groomed for this job, and I thought it was a good hire. They didn't want to go out of house, which I respect.
Yeah, Dill. Great hire for them, Dill. And to me, one of the reasons why they haven't got a head coach, Dill, I'm gonna throw a name out there, Dill. He's currently in the NFC Championship game. Also, offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, Dill. I think that's gonna be one of the landing.
Hot name,
Dill. We saw what that offense been doing throughout the last 2 seasons, Dill. And I think, young quarterback, get somebody to develop them. Like I just said, is not too many offensive-minded coaches in the market right now. And most of the coaches that's on the market, like Bill Belichick, Jim Harbaugh, Mike Vrabel, Pete Carroll, they all want win-now situations. Yeah. Brad Johnson, he doesn't mind a fixer-upper. He could build and develop Bryce Young, Dill. We saw him do that. I'm not going to say he helped or build and develop Jared Goff. All I'm saying is Jared Goff is definitely much better than he was 3 years ago when he first landed in Detroit. So yeah, I think Brad Johnson ends up in Carolina. I want to know who ends up there, but definitely need an offensive mind who has patience to develop Bryce Young and the young quarterback.
Yeah, something needs to happen with that quarterback, I think. But and lastly, the Raiders, they've hired Tom Telesco as their new GM, former Chargers GM. He got out of there. He in division, which is definitely interesting in my eyes, because usually I don't know for a fact. I'm just thinking it's kind of interesting that you go from one team in division to another team and you continue to be the GM. But Tom Telesco, big name out there. Any thoughts on him going to Las Vegas?
At the end of the day, like you said, in divisional, I think he's a good GM. We saw the talent he was able to acquire in Los Angeles with the Chargers, made some key trades as well. It's just the injuries kind of happened. So at the end of the day, I like the hire. At the end of the day, you got, new head coach Antonio Pierce, got a fresh new GM. So hopefully he could get a deal done with Josh Jacobs, keep Matt Crosby there, hopefully land a
Yeah.
quarterback or, move forward O'Connell, whatever. But at the end of the day, I think the Raiders got something brewing and they got something special with Antonio Pierce.
Yeah, and I mean, lastly, the Chargers, they said they're within striking distance with Jim Harbaugh, and it's unfortunate for the team up north, but I'm kind of happy. if I'm being honest, they're in wait and see mode, and they had a clause in the contract according to reports that he can't flirt with the NFL if he does return to college, which I respect. Because Jim Harbaugh has been flirting with the NFL going back for the last, 3 years. Fine, there's nothing really to prove anymore. It was his alma mater. He went there. He won a national championship. And as much as I hate him and where he's from, the guy's a winner. He wins wherever he goes. We saw him with the 49ers. He won over there. He won up in the collegiate level as well. So I think it is the right move for the Chargers to go out and get Jim Harbaugh. But yeah, it looks like his days are done up in Ann Arbor. Before we get into our picks, a quick word from our sponsor. We are brought to you by Viva Tequila Seltzer, the most refreshing hard seltzer on the market, hands down. Is no wonder why Viva was voted #1 hard seltzer in the world by San Francisco World Spirit Competition. With only 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and a light 4.5 ABV, Viva is the perfect drink for your post-game celebrations, as it was created with that active lifestyle in mind. We favor tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks with just a kick, just like how we like our lives. Whether it's Huckleberry playing around the golf with the boys or an elderberry on a Sunday at the AFC Championship game, it doesn't matter. Our favorites pair perfectly with the Artisanal Blanco tequila for that subtle and refreshing drink. Our belief here at the Dream Wager and at Viva is to live long, live well, and live it up. All right, a little news, though, before we get into our NBA plays. Last night, very interesting. The Bucks dismiss their coach, Adrian Griffin. I mean, they have the third best record in the East. The guy almost loses to the Pistons, and he gets the boot. Bucks, 16-26 ATS. That's the third worst. Obviously, it didn't play a role, but ATS, I feel, is like a barometer performance versus expectation or perception. And on the same day, just hours later, they go out and get the top guy, calling the games. They signed Doc Rivers as their new coach. It's actually kind of laughable, in my opinion, the whole thing. Him getting fired and then them thinking Doc Rivers is the answer. But I'm not the guy. Apparently, reports came out. Damian Lillard didn't get along with him. They made it known, or Giannis made it known, you can't trade my brother. He didn't like his brother as well. There are a lot of reports coming out now that he just wasn't a locker room type of guy. He didn't get along with the stars. And when it's Damian Lillard and Giannis, the organization is going to take their side over yours. And he got the boot, kid.
Yeah, at the end of the day, does the man deserve to lose his job for having the second best record in the East? Absolutely not, Dill. But at the end of the day, when you're not hurting the locker room, but just, creating friction and whatnot, Dill, it's going to cause some trouble, especially with your superstar star player and Giannis Antetokounmpo. And at the end of the day, last year, this team was a top 5 defense. Right now, they're ranked 24th. To be honest, we could honestly both agree if Doc Rivers comes in, they won't be the 24th ranked defense for that much time. So do I like the hire? Do I love the firing? Absolutely not, Dill. But are the Bucks going to be a little better defensively moving forward? I think
maybe.
So.
But my thing is, in your first year as a coach, you don't even get to the All-Star break and you're fired already? I thought the leash was kind of short, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, Dill, no. The leash was impossibly short. Like, it's a shame that the fact that they did it to this man. I hope he gets another job.
I do too.
Shit, 30-13. I'll take some of that.
I'll take that. Yeah.
I understand he's loaded with talent and everything, but at the end of the day, he was doing his job pretty damn well, if you ask me, Dill.
Yeah.
It's just all I'm saying is if you hire Doc right now in the middle of January, he better go win a championship.
He better, because if he goes out and loses in the first or second round, which he's known for, let's be honest, Doc Rivers is a choke artist in the playoffs. I mean, what is this for? I mean, this is a laughingstock, I feel like, to be honest. I think they're setting them up for failure. At least give the guy a full season and show you what he could do in the playoffs. You didn't even give him to the halfway mark to try to mend things in the locker room or fix things defensively. I thought the leash was non-existent. If being honest, there was no leash. First time they smelt trouble, you're gone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the business.
You know, if moving forward, you know, even if I'm Doc Rivers, like in the back of my mind, I'm like, if I go through a 10-game stretch and I go 2-10, would I get fired? Like I don't know. Like
you never know.
It just sends a bad sign to the league. You know, like you could get fired after 43 games. Like, come on. If he was like 10-33, cool. You know, not even Monty Williams got fired. They lost damn near 30 straight. You know, like, all seriousness. You know, that was a fireable offense. And they stuck by his side. This man is 23 games over 500. He gets fired?
What else do you have to do? And honestly, I don't think it had to do with performance. Like I said,
no, absolutely not. I think it comes down to, you know, the locker room, the friction there, and also being the 24th ranked defense. Though that's just unacceptable.
And then lastly, before we get into the plays, because there were some very interesting headlines in the NBA, Tristan Thompson suspended 25 games for violating league anti-drug program. He tested positive for steroids, and I looked up what the steroids I can't pronounce it. Whatever it is, he got hit with their steroids, but from researching and doing my own little research and talking to people hypothetically that are on or did steroids, he did the frat boy steroids. He didn't even do like the hardcore steroids. He did like the baby steroids that, you know, people in Don Bosco or whatever do. So like, I don't know if he did it for physical appearance, but he definitely didn't do it for producing in the NBA. It's laughable in my opinion. 25 games. Are you surprised?
Yes. You know, the fact that my man Tristan Thompson is out here getting drug tested, averaging 2 points a game with 3 rebounds. It's just, you know,
it's laughable though.
You have Joel Embiid, Karl Anthony Towns. You know, Joel Embiid has 70, Cat has 60. Next day, breaking news: Tristan Thompson suspended 25 games for anti-drug policy. What? I'm thinking this dude got caught with, you know, some stuff. This dude's taking steroids, averaging 2 points a game.
That's what I'm saying, and it's not even like the good steroids.
No, not even that, Cuddy. Like, bro, the fact that the NBA suspended the man that's averaging 2 points a game. Clearly, it ain't helping his performance. It's not like he's averaging 24 and 12. It's not like he's in the 2015 finals out here, you know, posting up Draymond. This dude's on a decent team, getting about 8 to 10 minutes a night, doing his darn best, giving you 2 points, 3-4 rebounds. Come on, NBA.
Is he still dating the Kardashian?
Shit, he might as well. 25 games off. Shit, you might as well have a good time, my boy. Keep doing it too. Just, you know, get off it. You know, the last 5 games of the suspension.
Let's get into these plays, kid. We got 8 games on the slate. I will let you lead it off. What do you got?
Dill, you know, I didn't want to attack too much, Dill, so we kept it light. I got 3 plays on the slate. Let's start it off. Charlotte Hornets taking on Detroit Pistons in Detroit, Dill. Hey, the number keep going up. I took the +2.5 early. Is that +3? Dill, I think take the +3, take it the money line. Give me the Charlotte Hornets. I understand that they're a bad team as well, Dill. But they're just going to take care of business at the route. Then there's Detroit. Always fear Detroit. And I also lean the over as well. I think both teams play very little defense. It's just going to march up and down the court, Dill. And then my second official play of the night will be the OKC Thunder taking on the San Antonio Spurs. Dill, OKC Thunder, number 1 seed, by the way. Give me the -8, 8.5, whatever you could catch it at against the Spurs on the road, Dill. I think they're just gonna continue pushing through and continue to show, hey, they're here for real. I understand they're still a young team and whatnot, but hey, this team is for real. Give me OKC minus 8.5 on the road tonight against San Antonio. And then I got a two-way 6-point teaser deal. Atlanta Hawks taking on the Golden State Warriors in Golden State. Golden State laying 6.5. Give me the tease them down from minus 6.5 to a half a point. Golden State at home. I think they take care of business against Atlanta. And then Portland Trailblazers taking on the Houston Rockets. Houston 10.5 point favorite. I think they cover the 10.5 still, but let's play it safe. Put them down to 4.5. So that's a two-way 6-point teaser. Golden State to minus half and Houston to minus 4.5.
2 player props for me. One, we'll start with that Hornets and Detroit game. Awful game, but let me get Jalen Durant, over 27.5 points, rebounds and assists, minus 120. This is a smash spot for him against the Hornets. He averages 27 points, rebounds, and assists as it is. I think he gets closer to in the 30 range. He's delivered this 3 of 3 versus the Hornets this season, 2 versus Washington and 1 versus Charlotte. And then we'll go to that Portland game and Houston. Give me under 25.5 points, rebounds, and assists for Jeremy Grant. He's under this number in 9 of his last 11 games without Anthony Simons. And Scoot Henderson, he's kind of been emerging lately. So Jeremy Grant's usage has gone down. I think it's a tough matchup against a very slow-paced Houston team. They're good defense. They rank 8th in the league in total defense, 2nd at home defense. And individually, I think Jabari Smith is good. He's a great defender. Offensively, he's been a bust, but defensively, Jabari Smith can play. So I think it's a tough matchup for Jeremy Grant. So give me under 25.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Anything else, kid, before we get up out of here?
No, that's just about it. I'm excited for this weekend. It's a damn shame. It's the last, 3 games of the season. They're coming down, but guess what? I just hope it's exciting, it's electric. And not for nothing, I hope OKC take care of business next. I'm going to have my eye on that one. It's going to be an exciting one.
Should be a great game. I can't wait for it. But that is going to do it for this Wednesday edition of the Dream Wager. On behalf of our sponsor, Viva Tequila, Elvis, myself, we will see you guys Saturday morning. I will be live here and then on my way to the bank for the championship game against the Chiefs. We'll have NBA plays for the weekend as well. So make sure you guys follow along our social media, X and Instagram at the Dream Wager. You guys can find all of our episodes wherever you're listening to podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. We go live every Wednesday afternoon and Saturday morning on YouTube, youtube.com/The Dream Wager. Hit that like button, subscribe, rate, give us a review, leave a comment on who you'll be betting on tonight and over the weekend. All that good stuff really helps the show grow tremendously. So be a friend, tell a friend, everyone have a great few days. Good luck on your wagers. Be safe, be well, and we will see you guys down the road. Peace.